Chapter 4. In 1880, Benjamin Button was 20 years old. On his birthday, he started working for his father at Roger Button and Company. In the same year, Benjamin began going out to social activities. His father wanted to take him out to dances in the town, and they spent many evenings together. Roger Button was now 50, and he and his son were more and more companionable. In fact, since Benjamin had ceased to dye his hair, which was still greyish, they appeared about the same age, and could have passed for brothers. One night in August, they got into the phaeton, attired in their suits, and drove out to a dance at the Shevlin's country house, situated just outside of Baltimore. It was a gorgeous evening. A full moon illuminated the road. They drove through fields of flowering plants, green and silver and sweet-smelling in the warm night air. It was almost impossible not to be affected by the sheer beauty of the sky, almost. But Benjamin's father didn't seem to notice the wonderful evening. "There's a great future for our business," Roger Button said, "but old men like me can't learn new tricks. That great future is there for energetic young people like you." He was not a spiritual man. His aesthetic sense was rudimentary. Far up the road, they saw the lights of the Shevlin's country house, and soon they arrived at the front of the building. Benjamin looked out the window at other arriving guests. A lady and an older man waited at the front steps. Then another beautiful young lady joined them. Benjamin sat up straight. There was a steady thumping in his ears. It was his first love. The girl was slender and frail. Her hair was silver under the moon, and a pale gold color under the gas lights. She was wearing a yellow and black dress, and her small pretty feet were in gold dance shoes. Roger Button leaned over to his son. "That's young Hildegard Moncrief and her parents," he said quietly. Benjamin nodded coldly. "A pretty little thing," he said indifferently. And then he added, "Dad, maybe you could introduce me to her." They approached a group of which Miss Moncrief was the center. Reared in the old tradition, she curtsied low before Benjamin. "Miss Moncrief," said Benjamin, after the introduction, "will you dance with me?" "Yes," she answered. "I'll be happy to dance with you later this evening." Benjamin thanked her and walked away, staggered away. He seemed to be walking on air. Inside the house, Benjamin stood at the side of the room, and hours seemed to pass. He stood close to the wall, silent, inscrutable, watching with murderous eyes as the young men of Baltimore danced with Hildegard Moncrief. How obnoxious they seemed to Benjamin. Benjamin didn't look at any other girls. For him, Hildegard was the only girl in the room. He couldn't enjoy the evening until she danced with him. When his time came, he took her hand. They walked onto the dance floor. Benjamin's jealousies and anxieties melted from him like a mantle of snow. In that minute he felt that now his life was beginning. Hildegard looked up at him with bright blue eyes. "You and your brother arrived here at the same time as us, didn't you?" Benjamin didn't reply immediately. "She thinks we're brothers," he thought. "Is it best to tell her now?" But he remembered his experience at Yale, so he decided not to say. It would be rude to contradict a lady. It would be criminal to mar this exquisite occasion with the strange story of his origin. Later, perhaps. So he nodded, smiled, listened, was happy. "I like men of your age," Hildegard told him. "Young boys are so idiotic. They tell me how much wine they drink at college. They talk about how much money they lose at cards. It all means nothing. Men of your age appreciate women." Benjamin suddenly wanted Hildegard to marry him. It was difficult not to ask her there and then. "You are the best age," she continued. 50. 25 is too young. Men of 30 work too much. At 40, men tell endless stories. 60 is too close to 70, but 50 is perfect. I love 50. 50 seemed to Benjamin a glorious age. He longed passionately to be 50. I've always said that, Hildegard continued. It's better to marry a man of 50. He'll look after his wife. If a woman marries a man of 30, she'll have to look after him. For the rest of the evening, Benjamin was lost in his own world. Hildegard danced with him 2 more times. They discovered that they were marvelously in accord. Benjamin asked her to go driving with him on the following Sunday. Then they would discuss all these subjects more. Benjamin and his father drove home before the crack of dawn. Roger Button was talking about business again, but Benjamin wasn't listening. So, what do you think we should direct our attention to after Hammers and Nails? Roger Button asked him. Love, replied Benjamin quietly. Love? What do you mean? His father said. How will love solve the problem of our costs? Benjamin regarded him with dazed eyes, and Roger Button had to explain everything again. And then the sun suddenly came over the hill, and the beautiful new day began. 6 months later, Benjamin and Miss Hildegard Moncrief became engaged. Her father wasn't happy about this. He thought that Benjamin was too old for his daughter. The excited people of Baltimore society suddenly remembered the old man brought home from the hospital years ago. The subject was discussed in every home. It was said that Benjamin was really the father of Roger Button, that he was his brother who had been in prison for 40 years, that he was John Wilkes Booth in disguise, and finally that he had 2 small conical horns sprouting from his head. Most people thought that Hildegard was mad. Why was she marrying a man of 50 when many young men in Baltimore wanted to marry her? Nobody understood Hildegard. After a local newspaper called Benjamin the Mystery Man of Maryland, Mr. Roger Button took his son's birth records to the paper. This proves his age, he said angrily. But no one believed it. You only had to look at Benjamin and see. Hildegard refused stubbornly to believe even the true one. It didn't matter to her if he was 50. It didn't matter if he looked 50. She wanted to marry Benjamin, and nothing could change her mind. In 1880, they were married. Benjamin believed he was the happiest man.